Okay, we're live.
Hello, everyone. It's Monday, March the 4th. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Today, I guess the question is, where are we at? The answer is about where we were Friday. President Trump gave a good speech to CPAC, about 2 hours worth, and the people loved it. Today, they're talking about, or at least President Trump is talking about, how the Cohen stuff may have interfered, certainly, with the Vietnam summit. You know, guys, let me tell you, that was set up to take the media off of the summit and the potential, and to create a negative for Trump. But of course, what it did is it gave Kim Jong-un, it gave him the belief that Trump was in trouble, so they thought they could get a better deal, thinking that Trump would be distracted and in trouble over what was going on at home. That's why there's always been a standing rule in this country. When a president is abroad, you don't do what they did. But of course, the rules are gone now. The rules are totally gone. Another thing that used to be, of course, was when a crime was committed, you investigated the crime. Not in the case with President Trump. There, the investigation is to investigate and find a crime. Never before in the history of this nation has there been such a high-profile case where the government set out to find the case. They didn't have one. They started out with collusion, of course. There was none. Well, I take it back. There was the obvious collusion of Hillary and the Clinton campaign with the Russians during the election. That's where the thing came from that supposedly had Trump doing all this stuff that they ended up getting the whole FISA stuff over. Yeah, that was collusion, you see. They worked with foreign entities to try to affect the election. That was collusion. And then when you want a history, they're going back checking on Trump's history. There's got to be a history with him and Russia. Got to be. Business dealings, there's got to be a history. Well, there is a history with the Clintons. There's a history with Hillary. Uranium One. But you just can't imagine in the United States of America today that we would be sitting here with the president who's being investigated so that they can maybe find a crime that they can impeach him over, with the full understanding that even if they don't find a crime for which they can impeach him over, they will at least find one that they will accuse him of and impeach him over. And we've got an entire group that did commit collusion to defraud an election, with a group that did commit treason with a foreign government in the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation, and it's not investigated. Think about the magnitude of what I'm telling you. This is insane. It's insane that we have two standards of law. But hold on, it gets worse. We live in a day today when people are divided. I don't know why, but I keep going back. Well, I do know why. Last night, I'll just tell you, last night I kept waking up I kept having this horrible, horrible dream. And I can't remember the detail of the dream. I just can't. But I'd go to sleep, I'd wake back up. I'd go to sleep, I'd wake back up. And it kept having something to do with the Civil War. And I tried to figure out what it was about. Just prior to coming on here, I think I understand what my brain was trying to tell me. You see, the Civil War, that was a nation divided. People, brother against brother, father against son, families broken up over the division. Look at us today. As most of you know, even in your own families, there is a deep division between any of you that are for Trump and support the things that he's trying to do, and your own family members. You can't even talk about it. And when it's discussed, you run the risk of losing friends. Many of you have already lost friends over this divide that's tearing us up. We're a nation in crisis. And unfortunately, one side is using it to their advantage to gain power. That's what this is about, power. Some would say it's about political power. It's not about political power. Forget that. This is about power. The power to take over and control a nation. And by taking over and taking control of this nation, you take over. You take over and control power over the world. Power. And we're sitting here. You're sitting here watching it happen. You're sitting here with socialism nipping at our heels. Ronald Reagan said that when he was president. In one of his speeches, I guess it was when he was president or after. I think it was after. But he said we're just one generation away from socialism. I think Mary Ellen has put that speech on our webpage. You should listen to it. Because if you think about when he said it, it's quite prolific. Because when he said it, we're in that generation now. We're in that very generation right now as you and I are speaking. Socialism. Now I've got some news for you. Since we have brought forward the truth that socialism is coming, the fact that the Democrats have been so out front with it, and because President Trump has started bringing it up and talking about it, as has now many others, there's some bad news. The Democrats are going to stop calling it socialism. They're going to fight it, saying they're not socialist. You watch it happen. You watch it happen. You see, in the world of the Democrats, in the world of politics, there are words that you just don't use. And when a word becomes a bad word, you don't use it. So socialism is going to become a no-no for the Democrats. They're not going to boast about it. They're not going to brag about it. They're going to disguise it again. But they'll disguise it in word only, not in their plans, not in what they're trying to do. And just because they don't use the term and stop using the term socialism and even start saying, Republicans and that bad Trump, they're just making it up. We're not trying to make this a socialist country. Even when they say that, that's not the truth, and you know it. That's exactly what they're bringing. That's exactly what all of this stuff they're throwing at the people is about. They're not going to miss this opportunity. They have spent years and years and years, 50, 75 years. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how long, and maybe it's been going on since the day we became a nation. They've been trying to get control of this country. They have. And they have worked. They have taken their time. They have been very careful. They have worked the plan. If anything, you got to give them credit for that. People that want to destroy us have worked the plan. They took over our education and started brainwashing, socially engineering our children all the way until now it's here. Now the generation Reagan was talking about is here. A complete generation, a first complete generation, one that knows nothing except what they learned in school. And what they learned in school was not to fear socialism, no, not to fear it. As a matter of fact, they have trained our millennial generation to welcome it, The gift of socialism is a bag of free stuff. The world becomes free when we get out of this constitutional representative republic capitalism form of government. When we just leave it, the whole nation will become free. Free. You won't have to buy anything. What is it that AOC or whatever her name is, Cortez, what is it she says? You can get money, if you can't work, you'll get money, she said, even if you don't want to work. Choose not to. I'm sorry, that was her words. Choose not to work. What kind of nonsense can that possibly be? No, we're in a historic time. I've talked about it for years. We're in what's called a defining moment. Me and you. Me and you. A defining moment. There are very few of those in history. Very few. But when they come, history changes. The world changes. Now, our defining moment is simple. We saved the country we were brought up in. We saved the country our founding fathers created and gave us. Our parents and grandparents kept alive for us. Or we lose it. It's that simple, or we lose it. And my dreams that kept coming, that running into my head, that my brain was trying to tell me to wake up and think about. I'll tell you in just a second, Mary Ellen, say something to him. I've got to take this call.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get up on the website yet the speech that Ronald Reagan gave. I do have the CD for it, and I need to finish transcribing it before I can put it up. So it's coming. I want to let you know that the bumper stickers are, I have some. I have a few.
I'm back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would just tell them the bumper sticker that says Never Socialism. They should be on, I expect they'll be on the website by Wednesday, hopefully.
Now, I'm back to what it was. Sorry for the interruption, but I'm waiting on a very important call. The thing that my dreams were trying to warn me about, and I don't want to say it, may even get kicked off YouTube for saying it. Folks, we're going to war. We're going to war. Right here. opinion, I haven't got any inside information. I told you where it came from. This came from me having this nightmare over and over. I believe, on reflection, trying to use history as a guide. You know, what's the old saying? If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. I see it. I see it written in history. Our Civil War. I see it written in history. In the takeover of Germany by the Nazis, Hitler. I see it. When I think, well, that can't happen to us. We're not that kind of people. I mean, we're smarter than that. We're not capable of, like Hitler, genocide. I'm sorry, we're not. Well, now it's out in the open. Now it's out in the open. Pro-abortion and abortion anymore, it's just murder. Just legalize murder. And it's murdering the weakest among us. Babies. What kind of people are we to allow that to go on? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what kind of people, in honesty, being totally honest with yourself, what kind of people are we that we allow murder of babies? Now it was disguised for a long time, for years. It's been disguised as, well, when is it really conception? When is it really a human being in the womb? That was the slippery trick. Oh, that was the slippery trick. Catch you on a technicality. Just enough to fool people. Just a technicality, just enough to fool people. And then it was okay to abort in the first trimester. That stood to come, and it did. Well, it's okay to abort in the second trimester. We should have all seen the writing on the wall then. There was no reason to not just go ahead. It was there. What kind of people are we that we didn't see? Well, if it's okay in the second trimester, then what about the third? Well, if it's okay in the third trimester, then gosh, what about even after they're born? Because they'll keep them comfortable until the mother decides. See, that would show you how stupid they think we are. That governor of Virginia said, well, in a case like this, we would keep the baby comfortable until we consulted with the mother. Well, now let me tell you something, folks. Throw the concept, throw the excuse of protecting the mother. Because as I figured, this is in my head, if the baby's already out of the womb, how can it continue to pose a threat to the mother? Now, the only threat that baby out of the womb could possibly cause the mother is the threat of having to take care of the child. So, it would be okay. Under the new version, just go all the way, the new version, kill it. And as long as you kill a baby, it's not murder. So what's the next in the series? It was the first trimester, then the second trimester, then the third trimester. Then, as they're out of the womb, what's the next? Is it okay to kill them until they're 1 year old? Don't laugh at me. And don't say, oh, you're being facetious. Don't leave that to me. I'm asking you to be honest with yourself. What's the difference in 1 hour out of the womb and 1 year old? Life. You see, socialist countries, communist socialists, it's the same. In those kind of countries, death can be an option. It's an option. If somebody is not beneficial to the collective, in other words, if it doesn't produce for the government, then it's a liability. And if it's a liability, you get rid of it. You get rid of it. So the next one is going to be, maybe it's not 1 year old, but I'll tell you what it probably will be. We have people in this socialist new government that's coming. If we don't stop it in this new socialist government coming, then remember that look at everything this way. In the new socialist government, you're either a dependent on the government or you're a worker. And if you're a worker, you continue working. And if you're dependent, you become a problem, a liability. What about all the trillions of dollars tied up in debt to Social Security? All the people that have gotten too old to work, but they're still getting money from the government. So that you know, they'll talk about that pretty soon. Pretty soon you're going to hear about this. Put this down in your little book of Nicholisms, just like reparations, just like socialism, just like impeachment. The things I've told you are coming. This one's coming. And it's called legacy contracts. Legacy contracts. Legacy contracts are bad for those cities and municipalities that have gone bankrupt. They've already heard about legacy contracts. Legacy contracts are the contracts with the employees when they retire. Their retirement packages. It's called a legacy contract. And that means you just keep paying them until they're out. Then some legacy contracts you pay them until the spouse dies. Legacy contracts. And the problem with legacy contracts, what you're going to be talking about, folks, ain't babies no more. It's about elderly. All this new medicine that we have to extend life. We're kind of a liability for this new form of government if we allow it to take hold, called socialism. It will. And medicine will be a problem. So you know what they'll do? They won't kill old people. They won't line them up and shoot them. And it won't be like in the movies where they come up with some exotic way to kill off old people. It won't be that way at all. They'll just deny, if you can't afford it, the medicines to prolong life. It's simple. You say, well, Larry, you can't be serious. Oh, yes, I'm very serious. I'm very serious. Because socialism and communism means death. It has meant death all over the world. And we are stupid. I'm not even going to say naive. We're stupid if we believe as it comes to America, if we allow it, that it'll be any different in this country than it's been all over the world. Millions upon millions of people will die. Then what are you talking about? War. Well, the good news for us today, good news. Thanks to the fact that we have President Trump as our president, and God for that. Because President Trump has gotten the military back where it has pride. Pride in itself, and pride in our country and our nation. They know what they're fighting for. They know what they're in there to fight for. And I think under a Trump presidency, it will be fairly hard to get the military, the United States military, to fight us, the citizens. I don't see it. I don't see it. Well, then that means you can't have a war. No, that does not mean you can't have war. I've told y'all for years, wars are fought on many many different planes. There's economic wars, there's social wars, there's bang bang shoot 'em up on people wars. Wars take place in many different arenas. So how war's coming? Is it going to be a bloody shoot 'em up? If my dream was really dreams were really trying to get me to wake up, then yes, I guess that could be in our future. All of the indicators are there that were there during the Civil War. All of the indicators were there that were in the 30s, early 30s, mid-30s in Germany. Yes, it's all there. Go look. Look for yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Go look for yourself. And a war, when the killing starts, let me tell you how that works. So you can kind of believe that it could be true even here. When one man kills another man's son for any reason, when there's not law, when it's not a nation of peace with laws, one man kills another man's son, the family of that other man's son look for revenge, and they will kill back. And pretty soon, somebody else gets killed, somebody else has to get killed back, and somebody's got to get killed back, because somebody killed, so you got to kill back. And in a constant state of fear, society crumbles. Why have I been telling you about Nicaragua, that two-bit country that don't mean a damn thing to me? Oh, I was there. I was there. Now, why does it keep coming back to me? It doesn't mean anything to you either, except the way it started. I didn't know. Adolfo Calero was telling me about how Nicaragua came to fall. To communism. I didn't know back when he told me that it would mean anything to me later in life. I didn't know. Didn't really pay any attention. And to be honest, I didn't even care then. I was just asking out of curiosity, pretty much to make conversation. And I think about Adolfo Calero, what is magic about those two brothers. They're from Costa Rica. They were a street gang. A street gang from Costa Rica came into Nicaragua. And they were so violent. And then they started spreading town to town. Town to town. And then one day, they were picked up by the communists, by the Soviets. And the Soviets got behind them. And all of a sudden, there was a ready-made army right on the ground. And they had the people so scared due to their brutality that the people were fairly easy to put into submission. Yeah. Oh, what else happened in Nicaragua when Adolfo Calero was the president? President Coca-Cola bombing for Nicaragua. He was quite wealthy, had a big company. The day they took over, they nationalized his company. And the rich man went to his bank to get his money at least, and they'd already nationalized the bank. So he was a man that had been asked several times, I was told, they had been asked to get with the director to help the Contras who use his funds to help save the country, and he was so wealthy, he didn't think it would happen, and that sounds familiar, didn't think it could happen. And then when he did wake up, when it hit him, and they took his company, and he went to his bank to get his money, when he was willing to hand off, they'd already nationalized the banks. He had no money. I sat here the other day, along with other people, and begged for people to help us fight, so that we could stop this horror from even occurring. It can be stopped now. It can stop cold in its tracks right now. But it takes a lot of people uniting together. But before you can get a lot of people to unite together, you know what you got to do? You got to get a few people to unite together. Now, before we do that, you know what you got to do? You got to get yourself to unite behind the cause. A cause. It's frustrating. It's an age-old battle that's extremely, extremely frustrating. But it's here on us. It's our turn. Yours and mine today. It's our turn. We can go the way of history past. We can go the way of time and time again in history. Or we can be the one generation that is smart enough to use that history, to use the roadmap it gave us, or it gives us, and use it to change it and to stop it. It doesn't have to be this way. We are surely headed for a war. We surely are. We truly are. Now this is, once again, this is my opinion. For what it's worth, my opinion. But I simply ask, if you're really interested, if you really are concerned that maybe my opinion might actually have some merit, I ask you to look at the United States Civil War and the disunity as it came apart, how families came at each other, how it all broke down. Look at that, go back, dig up on it, what little is still available, look up on it. Look it up. Then look at Nazi Germany in the 30s. Please go back and look. Look at how Hitler took power and how he took the people and literally had children turning in their parents. Look at that. And how he massacred millions and millions of people. I'm not even talking about the war. I'm talking about just massacring in gas chambers. Yes, the Jews. Think about it. Before you dismiss me out of hand and say I'm done, we at least go look at least at those two events in history and see if you can't see a parallel. Which means, and I know everybody is sitting back and holding their breath and trying to hold on to good money. We don't have much money. I know we don't. I don't have money. I know everybody listening to me probably has very little, if any. Some may have considerable. If you hold on to it, I'm going to tell you, if you hold on to it, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because the day they win, they will nationalize the banks overnight, and you will not get one dime of your money. Did you hear what I said? The day they nationalize the banks, if our government falls, and it can only fall if we let it. If our government falls, they will nationalize the banks overnight. And whatever money you did have in the banks, in CDs, and all the stuff you think that your security, it'll be gone. And for all of us that are old, and any of you that are living on Social Security, you better remember this. You fight now with whatever you can muster up. Because when our nation falls, if it does, you will be a legacy contract and you will be a problem. And maybe before they kill you with lack of medicine that they'll cut from you, that will cut off your funds. You imagine your life without Social Security. to the Democrats, you don't have to worry about that because everything's going to be paid for. So what do you even need money for? They're going to give you health care. So why worry? They're going to give you health care. They're going to pay for your kids' education. They're going to pay off all student loans. Everything free that you need is a necessity of life. They'll call it a right now. Well, this country, folks, you need only historically, but this is kind of present day history. Look at Venezuela. Look at this nation folds what Venezuela's got today. You hear me? Told them you. I tell you all this so that you know we don't have to fold as a country. We don't have to lose this nation. Not now. Not today. We got until 2020, November 2020, to save the country. It's not in the fourth quarter. We're not in the fourth quarter. We're a point behind, 6 points behind, whatever you want to say. We got time for one play, and we're on the 2-yard line or 1 yard line. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's got one play. Now, I want to tell y'all again, I understand if you don't want to help fund me and what we're trying to do. I understand that. But look around and find somebody that has a plan and is telling the truth, not making up all these things you hear on the internet, none of that junk. Talking about telling the truth and has a plan to stop it, to help us to save the country. Can you at least do that? Can you be honest enough with yourself to say, I don't want to help Larry. I understand that. That's fine. You don't have to like me. You don't have to spit on me if I'm on fire. I understand that. But if you're being honest with yourself, can you find somebody? Because if you can't find somebody to support, then it's not the people you're trying to look at to support. It may be you. It may be you. And folks, some of you are saying that I would support somebody, if not Larry, I would support somebody that I don't have any money, enough money. I don't have enough. Guys, $1 can be enough. If $1 is what you got, that's all you got. Use it. Use it. Don't worship it. Use it. Don't hold on to it until you lose it. Use it. Now, if I've made no sense to any of you today, I'm sorry. This may be one of the great wasted programs that I've done. But I'm sick. I'm being afraid. I'm sick of trying to gag people. Trying to dance around what you say so that I don't say something wrong. Tired of it. I'm tired of every day getting a call from somebody about the newest shocking thing. Have you heard such and such on the internet's putting this out or putting that out? And I sit here every day and say, that's a lie. That's not true. It can't be true. Think about it. It can't be true. I mean, over and over and over. Over and over and over. People call me and say, well, did you hear this? Yes, I'll say Q's putting out this, or Q's putting out that. But if you think about what he's saying, if you use discernment, as the Bible says, or just think, as I would say, just think. Does it even make sense what they're saying? If you think about it, it can't be true. And usually if it can't be true, it's not. Just like if it's too good to be true, it's usually not. But if it can't be true, it's not. I don't know why people tell the things they do on the internet. I don't know. I don't know if it's for self-gratification. I don't know if it's the money that they offer for YouTube or whoever, so that, you know, if you get enough listeners, you make money off the number of listeners or subscribers, whatever they call it. I don't know. But what scares me is I don't know information, money, or is it an organized disinformation group? I don't know. It scares me. It scares me to hear the tales they tell, the stories they tell, the things that they say are going to be, and they can't. So, Mary Ellen, since I've shot myself in the foot, does anybody have any questions? Or first off, is anybody still listening?
Yes, we've got 48 in 50 in the chat right now. Let's see, there was somebody suggested or made a comment that Michael Cohen had said he was afraid of repercussions against his family from Trump, and he's worried that he'll be, and so the question is, do you think there's going to be some attack on his family that to blame Trump for it?
No, I don't. No, it won't happen that way, and he knows it won't happen that way, but I'm sure people around him have gotten him booted up and concerned that President Trump is not going to sick people after Cohen's family. He won't, he can't. Even if he could, he wouldn't. I don't believe. Now, I'm not Donald Trump, so I can't tell you with absolution, but I can only go by what I have seen and President Trump, how he's acted as president and prior to running. And I don't think so. What else you got, folks? Go ahead and ask me.
Just one other right now. Did Trump do something to anger the Fed so that the stock market crashed so badly today?
Did what? You were distorting.
Sorry, my phone. Did Trump anger the Federal Reserve so badly today that the stock market tanked so badly today?
It would not surprise me, his comments about the Federal Reserve. I think it was when he gave his CPAC speech. He kind of asked them not to increase the interest rate, and he talked about it. Kind of made it a fun kind of talk. But I would not doubt for a second that there was a bit of mad, got something to do with it. But you also have to remember, folks, the stock market goes up and down, up and down. A rumor on the floor of the stock market can send the stock market in a nosedive. Just a rumor that's not even true. And it happens more times than any of you can even imagine. If you've never been on the floor of the stock market, if you've never been involved in that game, you will be amazed at the fear factor on that floor, on the trading floor. And I have seen, me personally, now I was not a trader, stock trader. I wasn't, but I was working with companies that were very involved with the market. And to be honest, a time or two, we shorted stock. Things I was involved in. You know how we shorted the stock? With a strategically placed absolute lie. Absolute lie. And it took the stock market down, and people sold like you can't imagine. What else you got?
Do you think
there's a whole life that y'all haven't lived? And what you see as the general public in many areas, I'm not just talking politics, I'm not talking just the stock market, but there are many lives that I have lived. And when you look at the lives from the inside of these various and sundry industries and trades, what the general public sees and what is actually going on are just entirely different. What you got?
Okay, back to the Michael Cohen's family and safety. Do you think the deep state would do something to attack them just to blame Trump for it?
nitrogen, yes, they could. They would certainly be willing to do it, but I don't think they will do it because I don't think they are through using coin yet. If they're going to build, let me explain, folks, so you don't. If they're going to build a fictitious case on Trump, they've got to have someone to propagate that case. And Cohen is the perfect person to propagate lies, to fire the case against Trump. If they didn't need him, he could be in jeopardy, or his family could be in jeopardy. Not from Trump. Well, I'll say this, more from, quote unquote, the deep state than Trump. They would have to have fear. What you got?
That's all the questions we have today.
Well, folks, I'm sorry. I bored you. Didn't mean to. But you better take to heart the things I've said today.
Oh, there is a question. Are you thinking Civil War or are you thinking World War?
Well, it will start with a civil war right here. Guys, I've said it before, but I haven't been as blunt as today. But do I need to convince any of you that we're at a point where something's got to happen? Do I have to convince a single one of you that this country's at a tipping point where something's got to happen, something's got to give, right? It can't keep going on like this. You see that, don't you? So yes, I am saying that we, you and I, what's scarier than that, our children and grandchildren are facing an inevitable war, a civil war, right here. If we don't take what history has taught us, you and I, you and me and you, that is, hermano, womano, mano, whatever, if we don't take it and use it, then we will be in a civil war right here. Now, who will be fighting who not? I can't say that I can tell you right now. I can't show you the line of demarcation. I can't do that yet. But I can tell you, if you look at the people that hate us because we like Trump, or at least his things he's doing, if you look at the people that hate us, and if you look at the money being spent, yes, the money being spent to foment that hatred and to get it all fired up under the pretext that they're doing it for votes. You see, don't you? Can't you see that hatred is going to grow? It's like anything else in nature. If you feed it, it will grow. And when hatred grows to a certain point, it blows.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying, Mary Ellen? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I don't hear it from the people out there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right. See, somebody else said something.
Yeah. Do you think the Democrats will be able to put all firearms with magazines on a list, effectively blocking the Second Amendment?
They will do. Look, the best way to look at firearms so that everybody gets this out of the way. Does Larry Nichols believe, my opinion, do I believe they're going to come out with a bill outlawing firearms and send the big jackbooted thugs around every home collecting every firearm? No. But if you look at what they're doing, they're using the same methodology that they used in abortion, right? Well, we're not talking about anything, just the first trimester, then the second trimester, then the third trimester, then, you know what, even right after birth. They're using the same thing on guns. They will find occasion to outlaw automatic weapons, then weapons that are for no other reason than strips you of your ability to protect and defend yourself with a firearm. They will. That's why, if anybody wants to learn, you should learn what I have taught people on our conference call, to use a bow and arrow. I know you think I'm crazy. No, I am not. It's one of the best defense weapons any of you can have in your home. It's actually the safest weapon you can have in your home. And anybody, I designed just for the group that I was talking to, I designed the bow. Mary Ellen's got one. Mary Ellen, you got one, right?
Yes, sir.
You can pull it back without any trouble.
Oh, it's easy.
Easy, you can pull it back. You can hit what you're shooting at, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Real easy. Okay? Now, don't make noise. That guy don't know where you're at. When it's dark, you can shoot. When you hit him, you'll go down. Just a little side thing about that. Unless you practice, and I mean seriously practice over and over and over regularly, not just every once in a while, regularly, shooting a pistol at night in a bedroom with somebody breaking in on you, night firing a pistol, you cannot do. And I promise you, you can't do it. You think you're aiming, but you're not. You'll miss the 2 feet, whatever you're shooting at across the room. And then when the gun goes off, the flash, now you're flash blinded. The bad guy knows where you are, he's real, et cetera, et cetera. Just a list of bad things happen. Not to mention, everybody gets the high-powered weapons. But think about this. In an urban society that we all live in the neighborhood, you go shooting off a high-powered weapon in your home, you miss the bad guy, and he goes through the window or the wall, across the street into the window or through the wall, kills a baby in the bed across the street. Is that what you want? So, I'm just saying, we can get into that if y'all would like. I can be glad to dedicate and devote some time to teaching you about that and showing you what to do. Something to which I do have training and experience. Anybody else? Mary Ellen, who's it is?
There was one question. Oh, do you recommend a crossbow?
Yes. Well, here again, a special kind of crossbow. Many crossbows, anything that is hard to pull back, I do not recommend. We designed a crossbow that you can use cheap, $50. $50 value. Looks like maybe you think it's a toy. It's not. It's like a pistol. But you cock it by leveraging the handle. You don't have to reach down and pull the string back. I think it's like $50 thereabouts. And then design some special arrows for it. Most of these crossbows that you see in the magazines, what seem to be semi-toy, they come with darts about 6 inches long, 7 inches long, little darts. What you need is an arrow, not a dart. An arrow with a point on it like an Indian arrow, you know, the triangle. Marilyn, you got one of those, don't you?
Yeah, it's like a razor's edge on 2 sides. It's a triangular tip with a razor's edge on both sides, about 1 inch wide.
Well, a crossbow like that will be just incredibly effective. Like I said, whatever you want, we can set up the program where we talk about that and give you information about it. That's what you'd like, any of you.
Yeah, if you want
I
to,
want to help you if I can.
if you want to continue, Larry.
I guess if I'm right, and remember, my opinion, nothing factual, it's just history. My opinion, if I'm right, my opinion is right, then you better get some of these things just to protect and defend your family. Yeah, I'm sorry. What?
If anybody wants to talk further about this, they can join me at 8 o'clock tonight Central Time. The conference call number is 712-451-0725. The access code is 492-215#. It's listed underneath the video. Monday, and for information, folks, Wednesday night we will, during the 8 o'clock conference call, we will discuss Larry's book, one chapter at a time.
It's probably on that conference call tonight. So what would you talk about, Miriam? Relative to the low.
Well, I think
sensitive stuff.
I think the bow is just a 12-pound bow, so the pull on it is very, very easy. It pulls back super easy. I had my 5-year-old grandson firing it, shooting it. So he pulled it back just fine. So I think if a little child can do it, then so is the crossbow.
Anyway, if y'all want those of that, go to the conference call tonight. The number's on the webpage. I think she said the number's on the webpage. And just acknowledge if you're interested, and if there's a handful of people that are interested, then we can set up a call specifically for them.
Yeah, and
I'll be glad to help you with that.
And if anybody wants information on how to buy them, come to the conference call and I'll give you all that information about the bow that Larry designed.
And by the way, I don't make anything. I make nothing. So, I mean, if you want to buy the bow, that's up to you. And it's nothing that I profit by. So just don't worry about that. I'm not trying to hustle that equipment.
Is there still a proxy war going on in the South China Sea?
Yes, it's not as significant right now as it's going to be. Yes, it is.
Okay, that's it. That's it for now.
All right. Well, guys, I do need to ask, if you will, for your help. Please go to PayPal, Nichols Live at AOL.com. I do need it urgently. So if you can, please go and help. And as I told you in the program, if it's $1, it's $1. It's $1 more than we have. But I need your help. And you got anything to add?
That's it. And if anybody needs alternate ways besides PayPal to send any money to Larry, either go to the website nicholslive.com, or what's better is come to the conference call and I'll give you contact information for me and give you some alternative ways to donate.
It helps if you will send something just to know people care. I mean, just to know somebody cares is a big thing, believe it or not. All right, guys, that tomorrow, remember, we will not be at 2, we'll be at 3, because I'll be on with Jason Goodwin at 2 o'clock. You can tune in there if you like. And then I'll be here at 3, and Lord willing, and the voice holds up. Hey, Ellen, you got it, honey.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. And that's the end of today's program, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Bye.